episode of Speed Seasons 3. My name is Amber Cypern, and I'm your host for this, and I'm joined by Alpha 5 and our special guest commentator for this Skyblazer race we have coming up, OmniGamer. But first, we have a few announcements. First and foremost, SGDQ 2021 online is July 4th to the 11th. The games list came out yesterday on May 8th, so go to gamesdonequick.com to check that out, and keep an eye out for the schedule to be released on May 17th. I'm super excited personally, so hopefully you are too. Also, the online prize submissions for the event are now open, so go to gamesdonequick.com to find out more about submitting prizes to the event. Frame Fatales, the all-woman speedrunning event, will be returning on August 15th to the 21st with Flame Fatales. Game submissions will be open from May 18th to the 25th. So go to gamesdonequick.com/framefatales for more information on the upcoming event. And as always, if you are watching on YouTube, hi! We'd love to have you over here on twitch.tv/GDQ. So if you want to check out our live content, please consider going to that link and supporting us over there. And also, if you have an Amazon Prime account, you have Prime Gaming, which means that you have the ability to subscribe to any Twitch channel of your choice every month for free. So please consider using your Prime Gaming account to subscribe to the GDQ Twitch channel. So, Alpha, it's Game 5.
Sure is.
It most certainly is.
Yeah, we've got Game 5. Should I tell people what Speed Seasons is about?
Absolutely. If you just want to tell the folks at home who might be joining us for the first time what this is all about and how they can get involved if they want to race in the last couple of games after this.
Yeah, so if you haven't been with us for the past, 11 weeks now, this has been going on for a while. Speed Seasons is a get yourself speedrunning event. I announce a game. Nobody has any idea what it is. We showcase a professional run, we give you a tutorial, then we give you 2 weeks to learn that game. You can join the race that's held on that Sunday at the end of that learning period, and you play the video game and you earn points. And those points can be qualify you for a playoff round at the end of all 7 games that we have, if you are within the top 8. And if you qualify for that playoff bracket, you win prizes that are provided by me. It's that simple. The races are open to anybody. This is really the biggest and most core thing about this is all about just, finding an excuse to play a video game, and maybe you learn how to speedrun something. If you wanted to, say, try out Skyblazer, you've never seen it before, seems like a fun game, just join the race having never played it before. That's fine. We have a couple competitors who are just joining the games as they go because they want to play video game. That's really what this is about. And yeah, that's the event in a nutshell. All of the more heavily detailed information is on speedseasons.com. I put together this whole website that nobody uses, but it's very, very filled with a lot of information, including our current standings. It's actually a pretty close race for that top 8, our top 10 competitors. Very close amount of points. So yeah, it's pretty exciting.
Absolutely. And also, I just want to say, speaking of tutorials, I know I didn't host last episode because I just had some things to take care of, but I did catch the tutorial for Skyblazer by OmniGamer, and that tutorial was absurdly good. So Omni, first and foremost, thank you so much for giving these runners really a really awesome resource for this game, and I know for a fact that people will probably reference it outside of just this competition, because I noticed that's a trend lately with some of these games. But what do you think these runners have in store for them with this race?
Oh, it's a fairly quick game, but there's so much that goes on just throughout the entire course of it, and just between that, you have your own level of play style. Within 2 weeks, yeah, certainly there's a lot of things that might not be the easiest to learn or to pull out, but the game has enough flexibility where you can toss in all these extra strats that maybe they're not as fast, but you can get through it safer with a little less practice and still get a fairly good time. So the tutorial is one thing, and I'm glad I was able to provide that, just like you said, as a continuing reference for this game. But I'm really excited to see what the runners today are able to pull out as these alternative strats. I've been running the game for almost 10 years, so there's something that comes up with just playing a game that long. You tend to learn a few things, and in just a span of 2 weeks, you have to take some cuts or figure out just what works for you a little bit in a smaller time frame there. And I'm excited, just as somebody who's very experienced with it, to see where these runners are going to improvise, make their own strats, and what comes out from that today.
Yeah, I know that you were watching a couple of people practice, because not everyone was streaming their practice, but a few people were. And you had noticed just how they were developing, like learning these strats. And I know that there's been chatter amongst everyone in the Speed Seasons Discord as well for the game, just going over like different strats and backups and everything like that, and just like their experiences with learning the game. And I know that magic management and being able to manipulate drops for that and everything can be really, really crucial to getting a really good time in this game.
Right. That's one of the things that really experience plays into. Like if you're doing recorded runs, you're trying to go for a world record or things like that. Obviously, you can just reset if something doesn't go exactly as planned, or what to go back and practice. It really takes a lot more buildup of this experience to be able to do a live run where things will go wrong. You'll have to account for, I messed up this manip, or I ended up taking a death somewhere that I shouldn't. And how am I going to go through and come up with a backup strategy? And when you've done it hundreds of times, you can usually figure out some fairly easy backup strategies to just get you back in the groove. But again, that 2 weeks limitation is actually really interesting here, just because we'll be able to see how runners are able to account for those kinds of just variance in run to run.
Yeah, absolutely. Like one big thing, especially when you're trying to learn a speedrun for a racing setting, is also like just you want to know your backups, but with only 2 weeks to learn, sometimes you don't have the ability to learn your backups, and you just kind of have to like hope that what you've been taught or what you've learned up to that point will work for them. So like I'm really looking forward to seeing how these runners adapt this time around for this race, because I know that we've had a number of games where being able to adapt on the fly is crucial to being able to place well in these races. And like Alpha had said, the standings right now as it stands are very, very close. Like there's 2 points separating slot 1 and slot 2 in our top 8 so far. Like we have in the number 1 slot, we have Pika Pals with 277 points total, and Socrates in number 2 going at 275 points total, which is absurdly close. So
Yeah,
the next 3 games are really the next 3 races are really going to matter for those two especially. But not too far behind are Piper and LK with 245 and 230 and so on and so forth. There are people who we haven't even featured on stream who are in this top 8, like 1UP40 and Pop-Tart Cat as well.
yeah, and just to go along with that, Just Defend is like 3 points out of the top 8, but has already skipped a race. Your lowest score does get dropped, so we have better feeling that Just Defend, after some of these people are going to lose like 30 points after game 7, just because that's their lowest score. Just Defend in a very good spot to cut in to that top 8.
Oh yeah, like without a doubt. Like it's really interesting to see just how close these folks are, because there's a number of people who have been in every single race as well. There's like most of our top 8, in fact our entire top 8 has been in every single race. But knowing that the lowest score does get dropped when we go to our final calculations for top 8, when we go to cut, it does, like, someone could skip a race just because maybe they're not feeling it, or maybe they have other obligations. It happens. And that's one of the beauties of Speed Seasons, is that you do have the ability to drop in and out, even if you don't want to slot in the top 8, or even if you do, you can just choose like, hey, this race is not for me, or hey, like, but like, there's also like a downside of that if you are trying to get into the top 8, where all 7 games will be eligible for the top 8. So if you actually want to just explain a little bit like what these racers are going to look at once they get past these 7 games that they're going to be learning.
Yeah, so the way the playoffs work, it's a best of 3. Basically what happens is, you have the entire pool of all 7 games, and player 1 bans for a higher seed will ban first. Next person will ban second and third, and the third first player bans again. And then no way, I think it's back and forth. I'll have to double check what I said on that part. Not very important. Basically, 4 games get banned. And then the high seed will pick the first game of the remaining 3. Then the loser of that race will pick the next game. So there might be a little bit of mind gaming. There might be a game that like, well, I'm really good at this game, like secretly, like maybe Just Defend Skip Link's Awakening, but he has this crazy time, but he doesn't want anybody to know about it. So he's banking on the other games getting him in there, and then he'll pull that out and just completely destroy people. That happened actually quite a bit during season 2. And we have one of the racers. He's just kind of joining every game. Doesn't really have the time to do it. Jackazam during season 2, where she got into the top 16. For that, the one thing she regrets the most is one of the games people were picking a lot was Kirby's Dream Course, which is an absolute insane speedrun, but it's a really, really, really fun race to watch, to the point where we had the moniker of Kirby's Dream Crusher because nothing went right when anybody played that game. But she joined that race. She couldn't improve her standing. She couldn't get any worse of a standing. Her point total was in such a weird spot. But she joined that, and everybody knew that she played it, so everyone banded against her. Meanwhile, LK, who's actually one of our featured runners for this, picked up like 3 games nobody knew that he had picked up, and it's just like, yeah, I'll race this. This is my specialty, and just crushed people. And despite getting, I think he was below top 10, finished 3rd place, losing in the top 8, losing to the eventual winner of the tournament, getting knocked into that bronze race, which. There were definitely certain games that people very much liked picking during that top 8, with being Wipeout, Ninja 5-0, and Kirby's Dream Course was one of them. But it was very interesting. We had a lot of cool stuff going on. But yeah, just strategizing, maybe learning games you haven't played before is just kind of all what they have to do, and figuring out, well, this person may not have practiced this much because they didn't like that race that much. There's a lot of somewhat strategizing going in there. It's very nice knowing that all of the runners have joined a lot of the games, so don't have to worry about, potentially someone having to play a game because they were blind to, 3 games and they accidentally ended up with a very bad situation. So yeah, it's going to be curious. I'm gonna enjoy seeing the strategies and potential mind games that come out of our runners.
Yeah, the top 8's going to be really exciting when we get there. I've also I noticed that we are using the if I'm not mistaken, mind you, we're using the JP version of Skyblazer. Is that right?
Yeah. So one of the reasons for that is LK is playing on his Super Famicom with his, J version of Skyblazer that he had just lying around. And so I'm like, okay, well, this version is faster. It's also a little bit easier to acquire. So that one, because the US version costs a lot of money.
Yeah.
But yeah, and it's faster. There's like a straight time comparison, but for the sake of the race, it works out better that everybody just plays on the same version.
Yeah, because these races are judged on RTA regardless of the actual in-game timing method or like leaderboard timing method for that game, because RTA is how speedruns lives work. That's what we use to calculate or like keep track of these races, and if you are somehow interested, and that would be really awesome if you happen to have a Skyblazer cart at home, or maybe you are familiar with this run and you want to join last minute, you absolutely can. You got about 4 minutes to do that. If you go to speedrunslive.com, instructions are in the Speed Seasons link there. But it looks like we're almost ready to get going. Runners are queuing up, and I know that we have a proof call every single race. What's the proof call that we're going to be looking for this race?
So this one, normally there's like time to do things before or even during the race. With Link's Awakening, the file name for Katamari, it was just keep playing after you beat the game, because who does that? For this one, they're going to be there's a couple auto scrollers in this game that are weird. They're like overworld, like I can't really think of a game to compare it to.
They're closer to mini games.
Yeah, but basically you're flying forward, you're not doing anything other than getting any lives, and you're trying to hit a bomb as quickly as possible to fall out of the sky. They're just going to sit in the bottom left-hand corner for like the first 3 seconds of the very, very last one, because they might need, some extra lives depending on what they're relying on, how their magic routing goes. So it's going to be a nice and simple one. It looks like everybody is getting pretty close to being ready.
Awesome. So we're just nearly there. So I know I'm looking forward to this. I'm also looking forward to this awesome commentary from OmniGamer as well. OmniGamer knows this game inside and out. And so if you didn't see that tutorial in the community spotlight, by the way, there is a VOD for that. It was really awesome. And if you watch this race and you're interested in picking up the game, go watch that. Like, OmniGamer did amazing with that, with like hitbox viewers, frame windows, just going over things multiple times, covering backups, and like you couldn't ask for a better resource, really.
Thank you. But if you haven't had an opportunity to check that out, just some of the things that you're going to expect to see over the course of this race, and I know that some of our racers have been definitely practicing throughout the last 2 weeks. This game has zips. They're not like your typical Mega Man style zips. They have lots of restrictions, so you can't really use them in most places where you'd like to, but they have some very kind of unique quirks to them that end up looking pretty cool, and for the most part should be relatively safe, so long as you get it within like a few tries and it's not too punishing. So be on the lookout for those. We've been discussing a lot of this magic manipulation. That's both just the strategy of making sure you have enough magic at the right times, as well as being able to expend it or get it back by doing very specific things as you enter stages and all that. So be on the lookout for a lot of that in many of these stages. Some are pretty easy, some are not easy at all, and I'm sure there will be a mix of runners going after one or the other as we watch today. And then otherwise, it's just a nice Super Nintendo era platformer. So lots of movement, lots of climbing, adjustment, using powers in the right ways to proceed just that much faster. So it should be pretty clever and interesting all the way through.
Yeah, but with that, so I toggled this last thing. I think we're getting very close to being ready. So I'm just gonna let our runners know, because they asked for it. This game has a demo, so they want me to let them know before I start the countdown.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Oh, I see. I will wait a minute.
See, some other minor things with this game. It has kind of a Mega Man style power-up system. You beat a boss, you get mostly an entirely unrelated power to that boss, but still something pretty cool. And you can use that just as you progress. You don't have as wide of a stage selection as you're going. It's got a world map that you can kind of walk around Super Mario Brothers 3 style. There's some routing related to that, but for the most part, should be pretty straightforward. Everybody should be kind of following the same overall path. There's not too too much that you can deviate from there. But backup strats will be the key, as we keep saying. So whenever errors pop up, we'll see the creative instances where players either try to recover or work through it, because that's the option. Deaths aren't too costly so long as you've got a big pool of lives. So possibly we'll see lots of self KOs just to recover some HP and some magic. But yeah, it'll be interesting. See whatever they pull out.
Yep. How's it looking on our issue?
We are working out our small issue, so we're just gonna resync and we'll be okay. And yeah, I apparently had myself muted a couple of minutes ago, which I thought with my new universal mute button that wouldn't be a problem, where I would, completely mute myself on my own show. But you know what? Here we are.
Hooray for technology.
Yep. I just look in the corner of my eye, red light, and I'm like, all right. Okay, it sounds like we're good.
Okay, if we are good.
Yes, the fancy blue of the Japanese version. Other than the kanji characters there, it would be bright red in the US version.
I see, actually, this is the weirdest thing. I see one person playing on the US version, and it's the person who is known for always playing the J version in the Mystery Blind community. Of the off-stream racers, and that's just a really I just think that's really funny.
Just so long as they're not playing on the beta.
Oh yeah, that was the most common circulation going around, wasn't it?
A long time ago, yeah. Actually, the very first task that wound up on task videos was on the beta because it was just a mismarked ROM, and I guess that got shared around the corners of the internet, and everybody just thought that was the normal one. It actually has some major differences, like some entire stages are changed. So we'd know very quickly if they happen to be playing on that version.
Yeah. Fortunately, I believe they had 0 time to practice and are blind, so I don't know if it'll hurt them too much.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, we're off. First level.
There we go. So the main strategy in this first area is to take 3 damage along the way, just because there's a cutscene that plays out that would otherwise drain your HP. So you just speed it up a little bit and do it all along the way. Otherwise, there's not too much to say about these first couple stages. It's really just get through however you want. And our first 4 racers here, they all got through with that minimal amount of health, and really, they all had different strategies. They were taking different hits from different enemies. Some of them were getting the turnaround damage boost. But overall, it's just a very minor difference in time as you're going through that stage. So for the most part, anytime you talk to the old man here, you're going to get an extra HP point. And that only comes into play in the run 2 times. This time and then 1 other. So very mild expansion of health, but every bit of it counts as you're going through these stages. All right, so Pika Pal's off to a very mild early lead. We're not going to really see much divergence in their strategies, at least as far as making a time difference, until the next stage after this forest one. There's a lot that you can do just in this forest, but it doesn't really affect the time. You don't have the tools like Comet, for example, to get through in any faster amount of time. Just a very mild amount of lag reduction and those kind of strategies.
Yeah, it looks like a lot of them are taking the top route here. There's a couple ways you can go through that stage, but they're all pretty similar.
Mm-hmm. And then Temple and Furnace, this and hopefully they end up pretty well. Yep, yeah. There we go. You take a damage boost off the first one and then otherwise just do a clean dodge around the lizard. The backup, as you just saw Shrambles do, was toss out a crescent, and that just removes the threat entirely. Pika Pals missed the precise jump in that first part, but still got into the shortcut. And here we go. We're seeing them try and set up their zips first off. Pika Pal's got it
very quickly.
LK having a little bit of trouble getting that first one in. 1 magic down on the genie, so we'll see how it actually affects them. Oh, drop the Genie, but LK looks like they've got it. But all right, one good recovery by LK going through with the kick to finish off the cycle, because they were one magic shy of what they needed. And yeah, so LK, first one out of Temple and Furnace. Pika Pals and Socrates right behind. Look at that, very close, just on the end. Scrambles, unfortunately, had to end that in the lower right corner, which adds a little bit of time when the game's trying to move you to the center. That all takes up real time. So you want to end every boss kind of towards the center of the room as best you can. But we've got another auto-scroller afterwards. Nice and easy. Good time to just recover. Some lag fighting opportunities, just you want to try and remove as many enemies as possible, especially those big elephant riders that are coming through. But for the most part, you could do absolutely nothing on this stage, and it would only be a difference of like a few frames, so nothing too bad.
Yeah, the stage is pretty breather heavy. You don't, nothing's really going on.
No, but at least as a casual point, this flying mechanic is something that you encounter a couple more times throughout the game, so this is kind of your primer for it. You have to actually hold the button to gain any height. You don't have like precise control of your vertical position while you're going through. So this is kind of the trainer course for that.
Yeah, it's pretty useful to get that, because it is a little bit like, it doesn't control quite as nicely as it appears.
All right, into Terralisk, which in my opinion is one of the trickiest stages in the game. You're going to see them enter this room right away, and the entire purpose of going in that room is that you reset these elevator cycles that you can see LK going on right now. Puts them in a much better position so you can get up to this door that much sooner. And here we have the climb. Again, watching LK, got to get stuck in the wall, and then 2 vertical, not opting to go for the 4, which is honestly a pretty good choice. It's really difficult to get all 4, just especially because the latter 2 have a lot of risk associated with them. Yeah, it doesn't look like any of our featured runners right now. Uh-oh. Scramble's having a little tough time getting the zip. It is a frame perfect input. You do need to get it just right, but for the most part, once you've got kind of a rhythm for it, it's not too bad. LK trying to set up for one more zip, trying very carefully not to get in the crusher, but Pika Pal's getting it right away, pulling ahead.
There zips are going real well for him.
Yeah, there's a lot that just practicing those zips can do for you, and in terms of world record or otherwise. It's to the point where if you miss a zip some 2 or 3 times, well, it's time to reset. There's just a lot of time that'll go out. But now Pika Pal's in the lead. We've got 3 of our featured racers right now in on the boss, and looks like, oh wow, that was a very risky setup by Scrambles.
I sure thought Scrambles was dead there.
Yeah, managing to get the vertical zip on that one without dying is actually a matter of timing. I'm not sure if they were intending to go for that or if that was just a lucky break. But either way, they made it to the boss room, so that's a victory in my eyes. Pika Pal's good positioning, finishing off the boss. Very little amount to move to go into that heal animation, and clearing off the first continent without too much trouble.
Yeah, and they get the heal spell, which will be very helpful very later.
Yeah, I'm curious actually if any of the runners are going to opt to use a heal spell just as a backup strategy in any of these, simply because there are times where you're going to be low on HP, and it's a big risk to go through these stages where you could lose a lot more time by just having a death come in an inopportune hit. Versus, well, you could skip a comet and you give up a couple seconds, but if that means that you can survive and not have to redo part of a stage, that might be well worth it.
Yes, here's one of the first bonus games. This is the second one. Well, will be where they're doing their proof call, or is the third one? But yeah, they're just trying to wait. There's eventually a mine that's going to spawn, and oh, you fell.
Yep.
But
this is a great opportunity to pick up some extra lives. Just make sure that anything particularly goes wrong later on, you'll be well prepared for it. It's actually quite hard to control. You can see Socrates kind of moving around pretty erratically. That is actually probably the best way to move in this. Having this constant kind of motion is really what helps things out. Just because it's designed to be a little slippery. All right, so Pika Pals going through into our first buffer room, and we should get 2 magic right there. All right. Getting him to position, not opting for the additional comets, so he's probably not going for the manip. Similarly with LK in the same position.
Yeah, this magic manip, when I was learning part of the run, that very first one in that room I found a little bit easier to do for whatever reason. Probably because the way you explained when you were doing the tutorial that the way you set up your visual cues is the exact same way I set up mine. So very helpful for me to figure that out as Socrates took a dive, and here's a crusher room for LK and Pika Pals.
The crusher room it looks like Pika Pals is behind a cycle. It's quite difficult to get this exactly right so that you can get exactly where you need to be. But between Pika Pals and LK, they're in very similar positions right now. They've looks like LK is only half a crusher cycle behind. Unfortunately, like the crusher room itself is full of a lot of traps. It makes you think that, oh, I can go for that. You most of the time cannot. I do not advise trying to challenge the crusher room in any special way. So we've got LK and Pika Pals both on the boss. Affectionately known as Wallface, more specifically in the US version, probably Petrolith, but need to use Comet is the only move that you have right now that does 4 damage, limits the number of cycles, and that's one of the reasons that you want to get there with full magic at every opportunity, because if you're short on that, missing even 2 magic means 2 extra cycles on that spinning. So,
oh, Socrates moves the wrong direction.
It's minor input error, but so we'll get to see some of that. Yep, just 1 extra cycle, not too big of a loss. But we see Pika Pals and LK. Okay, going through some of these older strategies. These slimes are a huge menace. If you didn't see it in my my tutorial, basically they have some properties that no other enemy in the game has, and it can knock you out of Comet and other things. That's what makes that stage particularly nasty. It looks like Pika Pals took an unfortunate hit there, but for the most part, Pika Pals and NK are almost perfectly in sync, tied up, heading into the water area. And there's a lot of very minor, subtle ways to improve time here. You can quickly cancel your attack, get little better cycles here and there, moving up and down along the wall instead of going with the flow of the water. So there's a lot of those strategies, and they're all perfectly matched up still. 1 manipulation right there with the fish. That one's easy because you buffer it as you enter the doorway. And then, perfectly lining up, heading towards the boss. Then this last area is slightly tricky. So we'll see them comet over, manipulate a fish. The dragon right here is a little dangerous, but get on the other side of it, comet back, and there you go. The boss here is the clams, which is either one of the easiest or the most terrifying bosses you can fight, simply because if you miss up just a little bit, you could be in a world of hurt. But it looks like both Pika Pals and LK have the timing and positioning down. Unfortunately, Scramble's getting caught up with the fish, having to just take some backup opportunities here, going through the Falls of Torment. And that's really, it is a menacing stage. Like, it's one of the shortest, but it's also just one of the most troublesome if you go off script a little bit.
This sync between Pika Pals and LK is insane. They're so
I'm wondering if they're going to try to go for the manip here in sand, which is not costly if you miss it. Socrates had a goof on the timing.
Yeah, when those things get big, this turns into a problem.
Missed another one. This is going to be trouble.
Yeah, keeping them off the screen so they don't spawn anything, I think.
LK had a death at the end, so opting to take the slow path back. And now, because Socrates had the death on the clams behind, basically, gonna need to take some interesting strategies to try and subdue these clams, because these fish are absolute menaces. They cannot really be dealt with normally. They will push you out of place. They do a lot of damage, and this could be very troublesome unless you start coming up with some backup strats. Oh no. LK again trying a little bit of a risky move there, trying to recover and use some backup strategies on sand, but it's troublesome. It's troublesome if you don't get the right timing on a lot of this. And I'm pretty sure right now this is again the difference in experience. A very lucky magic drop though. LK picked up a 4 magic from that lizard, which helps out quite a bit. So now should be able to take the normal strategy and continue on. Pika-Pal's, I think, taking it a little bit out of order, going to Fortress Troll first, which means that he's not going for the manipulation. But again, Socrates and Scrambles really, unfortunately, in tough position just from having missed the right opportunity to use the Starfire.
Scrambles.
Like finally, they got it
back up. Yeah.
All right. All right. So LK.
Oh, no, Socrates.
LK is still a little bit behind from earlier, but they're doing, between Pika-Pals and LK, they are doing things slightly out of order, just in terms of the stages that they went for first. Pika-Pals is about an entire stage away, in front right now, just because LK has to do this auto-scroller first, but very good planning on Pika-Pal's part, going through getting all the magic necessary. Taking it nice and easy is headed into the Wind Boss, which has some particularly tricky patterns to work with. Not opting for the death, so trying the full legit strategy. Okay, didn't quite get it, but for the most part, still okay. Most of the boss's health is gone, so just have to find the right one. Unfortunately, it is up to luck at that point when they're out of cycle like that. So just have to take the best guess. Unfortunately, didn't quite get it, but that means you can go in against this boss and now have 4 magic, which should make it almost completely free.
But unfortunately, not a lot of health at the start. That early trade beginning does a lot of damage to you.
Oh yeah. So Socrates still carting fish, but at this point we're down to just 1 clam, so we gotta hope for the best. There it is. Okay. Finally done. That is one of the most terrifying stages, especially for a race, because you don't have backup strategies. You really have to play it particularly safe. Oh man. So Pika-Pal's having a lot of trouble with Wind Boss. And this is one of the points where probably, I'm guessing he practiced a bunch with the regular strat, but doesn't have a good eye for what to do thereafter. So you're at a little bit of a tough spot with health if you encounter the boss again.
Meanwhile, LK just comboed.
Wow, Pika-Pal's unfortunately just really caught off guard. There it is. Yes, the double Starfire is all you need at that point, so long as you have the 4 magic. And it should be pretty easy to take out the boss there. So that's just a knowledge piece, having enough practice to account for that.
That boss has very tiny iframes that does a lot of damage to him.
Oh yeah, it's one of the unique things about that particular boss. But into Caverns. Caverns is a terrifying stage for a number of reasons. So LK, very good with that buffer off of the initial. You try to get it up so that you finish your jump basically at the end of the comet. It stores that jump progress all the way through. And then from here, you've got some other good opportunities for zips and some good damage boosts along the way too.
Alright, I want to see if anybody is going to be crazy enough to go for this zip, and oh boy.
LK's going for the lava zip. Got it! There we go.
So good.
Very good on LK's part. Holy
Pika-Pal's
buckets.
going for it too. This is it's one of the usual zips. Yep, Pika-Pal's got it too. So
Nice.
that's it's just a regular zip. It's just you have the complete caveat of you're doing it blind. You can't see yourself. You don't know whether you're set up on the wall or not. And okay, Pika Pal's picking up the manip, just a little slow on there, but unfortunately down on health.
LK taking a very safe manip.
Yeah, one apple's going to take him out here. Okay, so neither racer that's currently at Dragafent is opting to do the apples manipulation. They're just going for the jump, which it's slower, but it's a minor amount slower. It's maybe 3 to 4 seconds total loss, but a lot safer if you can get used to it. All right, Scrambles going for good opportunity. Do another Starfire. Oh no!
Falls into the boss.
Got a little too close. Probably one more kick would have done the boss.
Yeah, I think it had 2 HP left, and so secret exit in LK's stage.
All right, Socrates in onto Wind.
Let's see what strategy they go for. LK going for the take damage and go up and so fast.
Wow, got it. Very, very brave. I will say, it's
a lot of bravery.
Tricky to do that, and if you mess it up, there's not a whole lot of leeway. Pika Pals as well going for it. Oh, the emergency Starfire, Warrior Force, which makes you invulnerable when it didn't go quite perfectly. So that saved the extra hit there. And now they're also working on the fast strat for the Crusher, also very brave, but I'm glad to be seeing it. It's a very tricky thing to pull off, and just the timing for it on a lot of this is rather tricky. So, yeah, very good on both of them getting through with that. Scrambles, unfortunately, LK missed the manip, it looks like. Oh, no, I just didn't see the punches then.
These guys are so rude and so much pain.
Yeah. Pika Pals has an unfortunate death there, not quite executing the comet at the right time. Okay, but recovered just fine. LK, though, still in the lead into the water section. There is a manip in this area, but no longer possible with taking the damage on the wall there. But got a lucky magic drop anyways. Those snakes, each one of the orbs that follow behind them has their own unique drop, so it presents a lot of opportunity to kind of manipulate something even if you don't get the timing perfectly right. So LK first ahead into the boss room with one final zip. The strategy on the dragon is to Warrior Force just as you get hit, which boosts your damage and allows you to take out an extra cycle of the dragon. 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, a 10 cycle. So one more than perfect, but still pretty good. Now Pika Pal's turn. So long as you have the rhythm right, this dragon shouldn't be able to move.
Very good fight from Pika Pals.
Yep.
Here's that proof
now
coming
LK
up
heading
right here.
into our last auto scroller. That this is where the proof check is. So. Has to fly into the lower left corner. There we go.
Yeah, there we go.
All right. And then also have to make sure that they clear the menu boss coming up right after. Meanwhile, Scrambles taking up a little bit more time, so not opting to do the Comet buffer, instead taking it a little bit safe, got a health restore, and just covering the way. Oh, that's not going to work. There's spikes over there. Okay, but they're going through. They've got a plan. All right, so at 22 minutes. All right, there we go. Skipped menu boss. Old man will not have his day today, at least with LK. And let's see, Pika Pals make sure that they get it too.
There's some safety heals from Scrambles right there.
Mm-hmm. All right. 2 successful menu boss skips so far. Socrates, starting out in Great Tower. See if they also opt for damage boost. Not quite. Instead, looks like going for Warrior Force. Going to set up, get the zip going. Perfectly done.
Very nice. I think maybe they were thinking about going for the damage one, but after they took that hit, they decided to go with Warrior Force.
Mm-hmm. They weren't quite prepared with Warrior Force in advance, so that makes sense.
And then, start of this final stage. And we have. Okay. I'm looking at our off-stream races. We have 4 people on this stage right now.
Nice. So Socrates missed a little bit on the right timing for going through and getting the optimal zip in that area, but no deaths. So long as you get through the Crusher without a death, you can pretty much keep on point. That's one of the costliest areas that you can have a death in the game, so for the best. Uh-oh. Scramble's missing some hits, unfortunately, so sometimes the Dragofant can get into some really yucky positions, and especially up on the platforms, there's not a whole lot that you can do. It's probably going to be one more kick cycle. Uh-oh. Luckily had the health to take it. One more kick cycle. You can do it.
Oh boy. It's scary, as everybody else is fighting Mode 7.
Yep.
And hey, Shrimbles gets through, but yeah, Mode 7, the boss, just not very interesting.
No, unfortunately. And this is one of the caveats, is just some bosses have damage tables that say, yeah, it doesn't matter that you have Firebird right now that normally does 8 damage. It's going to do 1 to me for no reason. And this is one of them. Petrolith as well. It takes either 2 or 4 damage from Bird. I believe it's 4, but it's not as magic efficient as Comet or Starfire.
Yeah, I'm liking the way LK is when it's in the middle, he just stands on it, and then as it's transitioning off, just buffers it out, and just seems probably isn't that much faster, but it feels it.
Yeah, it's not any faster, but it can be at least a little easier on timing. Uh-oh.
Oof, Socrates gets
Scramble
roasted.
went into the wrong doorway, but that's not a major issue. Just got to get up there and head up into our Mystic Tree. There we go.
Wonder if it was just holding up and then forgot there was a second door.
You know, I think Scrambles actually went and got the extra HP point. It looked like he had 7.
Let's find out when they enter the next stage.
So this is, okay, yeah. There's the 7 HP. We were wondering before the show whether anybody was going to take that. Anytime that you make an extra visit to the Old Man Hut, he'll give you an extra HP point, so long as it's like your first visit there. You can completely skip one of those visits if you want it, and that's what the normal speedrun route does. But it looks like he instead opted to go get an extra HP, makes it a little bit more consistent, especially as you get into the boss, the final bosses of the game. Taking the normal path through Great Tower, which is it's fine. It's a little tricky yet. A lot of these you're supposed to use the Comet to get through. All right, so Pika Pals and LK pretty close. LK still in the lead by about a boss. Ashura here, you need to make sure that you use the Bird to take out all 6 hits where possible. And it can be a little tricky sometimes. He likes to just wiggle around and be in areas that you'd rather not. But heading into Raglan, and this is still a very good time. We're going to look at, if all goes well, it'll be about a 27:30.
Yeah, that was with the huge loss on that sand stage.
Oh, yeah. But I don't think any of the racers have gone without making a mistake from their own game plan so far. So we'll definitely keep up with that. All right. So heading in, their strategy is going to be trying to bounce off Raglan's face, take enough single damage hits, and keep him as low as possible. And you can only do that by limiting the amount of time that he has to actually be free, and then using these heal cycles to dodge the laser. And if you do this right, you have exactly the amount of HP you need to win this damage race. But any particularly long slip-ups and you might wind up in not great position. Uh-oh. LK is actually one hit off the cycle. The arm's moving, not good. He needs to do this jump raw.
Oh,
He cleared it,
got it, but didn't get slammed to the face.
That would have been game. I'm pretty sure that was the last hit for Raglan. That's very unfortunate loss for LK. Might give Pika Pals the opportunity to come back and take this. Now that, oh, there it is, 27:59 for Pika Pals. Oh, and another death for LK against Raglan. Raglan, even though it's a damage race and fairly straightforward, there's a lot of opportunity for screwing up on it. So it's not surprising that some of our racers are having a little bit of issue here. But yeah.
I just want to jump in real quick. Off screen, we had St. Joe finish in second place with a time of 28:31. Just Defend typing in with third place at 28:42 as well.
Oh wow!
Yeah, just Defend actually was ahead entering that room, but the Raglan fight, or that opted with just immediately running into the pit to get that extra magic for another heal.
Mm-hmm. LK is off cycle now, so they have the opportunity to jump up and use magic, but they're still kind of in between these strategies of before you take 4 hits before magic, but since you start with lower health, you can only take 3. So just a little bit confused about the timing for this. Unfortunate. But Pika Pals, with pulling it out at the end, very well done. 28 for 2 weeks of practice is extremely good. And being able to pull off a lot of those things like the lava zip and otherwise, very impressive. So definitely well-deserved victory here.
Yeah, those zips were very clean. They are not. I don't think I ever got. I got maybe one first try ever when I was playing this game.
Mm-hmm.
Pika Pal's comment on the race, by the way, was, "Enjoyed the wind boss so much I thought I'd spend a full minute fighting him."
That sounds about right. Yeah. All right, so LK still having to kind of figure out the better timing here. They can... Oh, unfortunately, they stopped to punch right at the wrong time. There was the explosions on the ground, which does 2 damage, as opposed to the 1 damage you get from contact to Raglan's face. And what they should be doing here is jumping up, and they've got spare magic. It shouldn't really be an issue. Should just be able to fill up and then still have magic left over. So
they got hit by the explosion there again.
Yeah, to get stuck and unfortunately tagged by that laser, because that is the most threatening thing on this fight. If you try to kind of defeat this fight normally, dodging the laser with jumps or positioning, it is extremely difficult. LK, I think, is just getting a little bit tilted now. Unfortunately, getting caught up on the differences in cycles on Raglan and not quite realizing appropriate or safe backup strats.
Yeah,
That's how it is. So
definitely playing a new factor.
Yeah, unfortunately, LK was 1 hit away earlier, I'm pretty sure, from getting it, and just unfortunately missed that hit, and now their practice timing is all off compared to what they needed to do before versus what they need to do now.
Yeah, I'm going to say it's a little surprising this is the first time over like this entire event I would have said that something like that happened.
Mm-hmm.
Just in like as close of the races as some of these have been.
So while we were watching LK, we had 4th through 6th ring in with 1 up 40 and 4th place with a time of 30 minutes and 41 seconds. Hop Tart Cat with 5th place at 30:53. Piper in 6th place with 31:13, and LK finally in 7th with 31:38. Or 31:27 on screen is probably when they got done, though. Mm-hmm. Shoehorse also just came in 8th with a 32:11. Piper commenting, "Glad I practiced the backup strats."
The backup strats are the entirely necessary ones. Oh, unfortunately, scrambles. This entire stage is not to be taken for granted. It is an auto-scroller, but if you play around a little bit or you get just a little bit nervous, it is easy to wind up in a position where your only way to save yourself is just an emergency Phoenix and you fly up. And Socrates, now finishing off Raglan. I haven't caught their particular strategy here, but it looks like they opted for some extra magic early on. There we go. So it should be just a couple more hits. There it is.
GG to Socrates. GG to 3 out of 4 of our racers on screen right now as we cheer on Strambles as they go through this final onslaught, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so a bunch of players right in that realm of 28 to 30, 31, 32. So pretty close considering like all of the different strategies that they employed and well, all of the different pain points of needing to use backup strategies and otherwise to cover mistakes and things like that. It's still like really good anytime that you can pull off an entirely new game like this. There's for some speed runs, there's things that you can take from other games that you might have run. Just whether it's like similarities in physics or otherwise. You can't really do that too much with Skyblazer. A lot of the mechanics are kind of its own. As far as I know, there's no other game that has zips kind of in the same way that Skyblazer does. And to have learned the entire route and all of these other tricks along the way in just those 2 weeks, very impressive, and glad all the racers hopefully enjoyed their time with it, and maybe even a couple of them keep up on it after the fact. Would be good to see more interest in the game too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I was gonna say, just based on like how well I think all of them are doing, I was expecting 31s to like 35s or something, but a lot of people just absolutely crushing this game.
Yeah, this is very impressive for 2 weeks of time. I know we've kind of said that every single episode as well, every single race we've had, like, wow, this is impressive for 2 weeks of time. And then, like, if you have the good resources that we've been providing through the community spotlight on Mondays, every other Monday, it's very possible to sit down and like take the time to learn these games. They're not super long. Expect to maybe get an hour time at, like, if you put minimal time into it, I can expect like an hour for a time, which is not anything to scoff at either. But like being able to get sub 30 in 2 weeks, like Pika Pals did, and I know some of these runners had sub 30s when they submitted to be on the show. It's absurd. It's absolutely absurd.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Just as context, when I was picking all of these games, I went through and it was okay. The time is if I can get an hour, like a sub hour within playing the game with maybe little to no resources in, let's say, 8 hours, it's probably fine. And that was, my goal for picking these games. And in relative to, I'm not gonna say that and then pick like a game where the world record is like 59-60 or 59-59.
Right.
Like, that's just impossible. But Travel seems to be okay right now.
Yeah, so Scrambles had to take a backup strategy. They unfortunately went for the Phoenix strat in this room and got caught a little bit up on the walls. So unfortunately, couldn't quite keep up with the pace, and now have to recover with a death, but only has to corral 2 of the fish away. So this is the advised strategy for backups, is if you can get the fish stuck on the wall, a little closer, yeah, so that's fine. Then you're completely safe. The clams can't spawn more stuff, and you just have to wait for them to open up. So this is my recommended backup strategy, should you happen to be in the situation with less magic than you need.
I also just want to chime in again with another off-screen finish. Huckleberry finished in 10th place with 35-33. And I know Pop-Tart Cat commented on their own results saying, missed a Phoenix hit on Ashura, do not recommend.
Oh gosh. Yep.
Yeah,
That's,
I saw a bunch of them talking about that. They did not want to do that.
All right, so Scrambles is 1 Phoenix hit down, needs another 8 damage, so 2 kick cycles. All right, and on into Ashura. So how many racers actually joined this race? I'm not in that.
Let me
area
double
portion,
check.
so I
I
can't
believe
see.
it was 1,
I'm
2,
seeing
3.
11.
Okay.
12 actually. Shrambles
12
is one of
people.
them.
Yeah, good showing. Certainly the largest Skyblazer race that I think has occurred.
Yeah, given that it is a lot of people did have availability issues with this weekend in particular because of, whether it's college finals or Mother's Day, which, by the way, happy Mother's Day to all mothers watching as well.
to
And
all
everybody else, go call your mothers. Don't forget.
tell everybody else, call your mother. That was a requirement for joining this race. I wasn't going to showcase them if they didn't do that.
That should have been the real proof call. Call your mom.
I thought about it, but I had no way of proving it. So... But yeah, Shrambles finishes up here.
All right, taking it very cautiously. So got into a very specific position before starting the damage boost on himself. That's somewhat important, but Scrambled also has an advantage that none of the other racers that we watched today had, in that he has the extra magic point. And that will give just a little bit more room for error here. Don't have to be quite as concerned about taking an extra hit. And that's actually a valid strategy versus the 10 to 12 seconds it would take to get a self-KO in this room and go through. Unfortunately, oh no. One hit shy, unfortunately. I think there was a mistake made with the magic, or accidentally took an extra hit from one of the lasers somewhere along the way.
Very close. Healing there, I guess, taking advantage of their extra magic.
Mm-hmm. So long as you have the death in this room, you get essentially full magic at the start, and that means 4 separate heals for a total of 16 extra HP, which is real nice considering that Raglan has 16 HP. Oh no! Should have taken an extra heal. Got scrambled by the laser. Oh, pardon the pun.
You're probably actually the first person to make a pun on their name this entire series.
Scrambles does it all the time. So.
Yeah, oh man. Unfortunately now they're getting caught up in this cycle of... this is slightly where the backup strats kind of hurt you. Like, you know that, oh, it should be easier the second time around, but it's more difficult to account for some of those things when you've practiced it a particular way. And if the backup basically takes a different rhythm, or like you need to be healing at different times, that already is enough of a mental blocker to be kind of in the right space to be executing this. I would take another heal right now. Okay. It worked out. But just any time that you get down to that 2 HP is kind of danger. So remove as much risk as possible. Yeah. Once the arm starts going, you don't control your position anymore, so it's really risky. You always want to have more than 2 HP if you can help it.
And just to speak to that rhythm, I've had that even when just playing games casually, where I'll try and do something because like it looks like it almost worked, and then I'll end up off rhythm with something, and I'll just die like 30 times on something that's like a really, really simple jump because I want to do it the one way I had done it the first time, and I don't want to adjust. That's hard.
There's something to be said for stubbornness sometimes.
It's more fun that way.
Taking it much more cautiously about when to get the hit in.
I think just forgot they didn't have enough HP.
Yep. That can happen too. Again, the rhythm here. Normally, if you get in, you have 5 good hits at least to get through before you need to do the magic resupply. And in this case, there. So yeah, it's out of rhythm. It shouldn't be a problem. You have enough magic to still make mistakes on a lot of this. Just have to remember when to use it and when to get hits in. Do that. Now take the heal. No.
Yeah, that slight R movement into eat 2 damage instead of 1. It's what happened to LK. It's really rough.
And for the most part, like the optimal strategy here is that you would get enough hits in just as Raglan becomes vulnerable again that he's not able to rise up, because he doesn't re-engage that arm punching shenanigans until he gets to the top of the stage. So long as you can keep him low enough, you know that it's going to be consistent. But any other time, you're kind of at at the mercy of whatever he feels like. Okay, take 1 more hit. Get that. Get the heal in.
Oh!
Always just with a little bit more magic left. Could have saved. You don't necessarily need to get a perfect dodge with the magic, but you do need to use it to just make sure that you're not going to wind up in extra bad territory.
I think one of the other things that's hurting them is they're going for the jump kicks all the time when you can just sit in his face and press buttons.
Yeah, I think he's going for the jump now because he's paranoid about the arm moving, and he doesn't want to get moved back all of a sudden when he's not expecting it. Heal.
That would make sense.
All right. Heal again.
Yeah, just heal. You have that. It's not even inefficient because you have that extra pip too, so you don't have to worry about accidentally inefficiently healing.
One more. There it is.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's go.
Well done, Scrambles. Finishing it out. Oh, and let's see. Does that wrap up all the racers today, or a couple?
That would
still
be
going?
everyone except for the one person who is joining this race blind because they were busy studying for college finals all day.
Well, good luck to them, certainly. But
Yeah.
to all of our racers today, very well done. This is a tough game to kind of get into. Once you get the major pieces of it, it's a lot of fun to be able to go through. But as we've seen today, there's many opportunities for errors, for accidents, just general mishaps, and knowing how to recover from those is a key part to playing the game. And yeah, I'd encourage everybody who gave it a try to keep trying. Go back, try and improve a little bit more, try some of the tricks that might have been a little too hard to pick up or too not enough time savings to invest much practice time into, and see what you can come up with, because it's kind of in that last 2 to 3 minutes of optimization where things get pretty intense in just trying to get everything right. But yeah, definitely thanks everybody. I hope you had a great time with the game. And yeah, so great race all.
Yeah, GG's to all the runners. They did fantastic. Like, especially getting up to this point, like sub-hour times is incredible for 2 weeks of 2 weeks of practice.
Or less, as the case may be.
Oh yeah,
I think Joe started learning this game Friday.
Oh my
and
goodness.
Went really, really hard on it over the past day and a half.
Yeah, and that paid off, honestly, like to go really hard on the game, because Joe got 2nd place?
Yeah.
Like that's so absurd. Like what an incredible learning pace, honestly.
There is something that kind of you get to see in these sorts of races where it comes down to in some sense you're racing the game. You're going through and trying to pick what's best and most optimal. But at the same time, it also talks about practice strategies. So certainly everybody's learning styles are going to be a little different. What they remember, what they're able to work into their muscle memory easier, and that kind of thing. But also there is advantages to being able to look at kind of the whole run and say, okay, this is probably the most costly thing. This is the second most costly thing in terms of time. Being able to focus on those, kind of prioritize where you're most likely to lose time and so on. That can be a distinguishing part of the way that these work as well, simply because, yeah, it's 2 weeks, it's a limited amount of time, but you can still prioritize and strategize that time so that at the end of the time when you're supposed to give that performance, you can be practiced on the things that are most likely to go wrong or are going to have the biggest source of possible risk for you. So that's a distinguishing trait in the way that these races work out as well.
Yeah, without a doubt. So I want to thank you for being on for commentary for this OmniGamer and also providing the really awesome tutorial. And if anyone saw this race and wanted to consider learning the game, maybe it looked really fun to you, there is a fantastic tutorial by OmniGamer here on Railcoons, the community spotlight, which was 2 weeks ago. It was Monday. It was a Monday. It was Monday the 26th of April, it looks like. And that is a fantastic resource and will be on YouTube as well.
It is already on YouTube, in fact.
Awesome.
Oh, that's
so even better.
Yeah.
And but stick around. We do have another thing planned for today. We are revealing game number 6 out of 7 coming up next. And we're going to take a quick break and then we'll come back with that reveal. But just as a reminder to everyone that the SGDQ 2021 online games list dropped yesterday, May 8th. So if you want to check that out for the event that is happening July 4th through the 11th, go to gamesdonequick.com to check that out and keep an eye out for the full schedule to plan your marathon watching stint released on May 17th. And as always, your subs, gift subs, Amazon Prime subs, and your bits cheered on the GDQ Twitch channel does help support our weekly hotfix content. Thank you very much for supporting our shows, and thank you for being here in general, even if you can't contribute like with bits or subs or anything like that. Just being here and telling other people that we are doing this weekly content is more than enough support than we could ever ask for. So thank you again very much. That said, we will be right back in just a few minutes after we take a quick break. So get up, hydrate, walk around, take care of yourselves, and we'll be right back with Game 6. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to episode 5 of Speed Seasons 3. My name is Amber Cyprin. I am your host. I almost definitely said my last name wrong. I'm joined by Alpha 5, who's been the main organizer of this event up until this point and will continue to be for the next couple of games in all of top 8. But we got a mystery game for you.
Yeah, I was gonna say that was almost like when Railkin says he does a great job helping out only himself during one of the community spotlights. So, yeah, so I run Speed Seasons 3, or Speed Seasons, I guess. It's been good. We had a fantastic Skyblazers race. That was a lot of ups and downs. Very, very cool to watch. So this next game, I guess I'm gonna preface with there's a little bit of a story for it. So I have this friend named Jal, who in the mystery community. She was pretty big. She finished I think somewhere decently in season 2. But basically every time I asked, if people wanted to help out, she was just like, well, can I race and join all the games and help out? And she kept mentioning that. And it's like, okay, yeah, and she signs up, everything. Hasn't joined a single race. However, there was one particular genre that Jal was a pretty big fan of in season 2, and so I made sure to make sure that was represented, although maybe with a little bit less product placement and a little bit more fun to talk about, possibly more than once. So if you want to roll the video. Okay, yeah. So we have Crash Team Racing.
Imagine a racing game in a speedrun race competition.
Yeah, so in season 2, if anybody remembers the fun that was Wipeout XL, at least for everybody except for the people who had to commentate it. This is a racing game that is a lot of fun. And there's a lot going on for something that would seem a lot simple. There's a lot more, at least appreciable skill, I would say, in this game compared to some other racing games, because you can kind of always see that, you know, what the runner is doing is a little bit different, but it's definitely faster. So we have HypnoShark joining us to showcase this game. HypnoShark, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Yeah, it's kind of crazy that the last racing game was what it was, and this is the next racing game. So, yeah. No, this game is awesome, and I'm really looking forward to show it off. Honestly, really looking forward to it. Should be a good time. So,
First and foremost, the community is coming in strong with the T-posing Dingo Dials, which, by the way, Dingo Dial's my favorite Crash character, so I am very, very excited.
Correct decision.
I remember reading the world record comment or something like Dingo top tier, other character bottom tier.
Yeah, it's accurate. It's accurate. I only speak in truths, so you know. But yeah, so I may as well just give a quick rundown of the run before we actually get into it, because when we get going, we won't stop going, basically. So there's 4 cups, as you can see on the screen. There's 1 per Crystal, Nitro, and Crash Cup, and we'll be doing all of them, obviously. And 16 tracks, as you can see as well. Worth mentioning, because there's going to be a race of this at some point. If you have the European version or the Japanese version, there is a cheat character called Penta Penguin who has maxed out stats. I am on the American version, so I'll be using Dingo. With that out of the way, I am ready if the time a human being is ready. And yeah, we'll start.
I also just want to ask Alpha one quick clarification. What will be the required version for this game? And and I'll also ask HypnoShark, what exactly, like, all cups does not include, like, the story mode of the game, right? It's just the cup.
Correct. If I go back to the menu here, it's actually in arcade mode. It's not in adventure mode. It's in arcade, and then you hit cup. And
okay.
Yeah. Is Penta Penguin banned normally?
Penta Penguin is allowed in this category, so this is fine. So if you're
I'm
on
gonna
the Japanese
say
version or the PAL version, then
I'm gonna say US or Japanese version, because I'm not dealing with people running at 50 frames per second. This is not happening.
Is fair. That is fair enough. Yeah, that is reasonable. So yeah, without further ado, I am ready to begin.
I'll
if we're all
catch
good.
it down.
All right, awesome.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
All right, and so we begin. So another thing I should mention is you can do these cups in any order you want. I'm going to start with the most basic of the cups, and then we'll go from there. This is the first level of the game, Crash Cove. What you're going to be seeing in this track is what you're going to be seeing a lot in this run. A lot of drifting and sliding in a go-kart, as you can see. I am drifting and sliding by hitting R1 to start the drift, and then L1 to do a boost. When my exhaust goes black, the meter in the bottom right there fills all the way up, and I'm able to boost out of it. And I'm going to be referencing this term reserves quite a lot this run. Basically what reserves are is every time you boost, like I am doing now, there's a massive tug of war going on between you keeping the speed that you have and not keeping it. And by boosting, I'm extending my reserves so I maintain the speed that I have for as long as possible. As you can see, I basically kept the speed for the entire race because I haven't hit a wall and I've just been boosting the entire time. That is the core of this game, and you'll be seeing that a lot. So yeah, but that's basically it for Crash Code. Very simple level, kind of to get your feet wet with the concepts of this game. And yeah, that's the first level done. So usually what I'm used to seeing now is a completely different track, but all cups, as I said earlier, is kind of scripted in which tracks it gives you. So next up is Tiger Temple, which is usually like the 5th track in the main category, but here it's 2nd. Obviously depending on what cup order you do. This will introduce a new concept called speed ghosting, or SGing. I'll point it out when I get to lap 2, but basically what it is if I'm going down a hill, if I like go off, the downhill, I can get that momentum from it, and then from there, if I spam R1 and hold L1, I can maintain that speed for longer. So basically, I maintain the downhill momentum for as long as I can keep it. This is amazing RNG. This track, I should mention as well, is the only track, pretty much at least, which has RNG. There we go. That's the only one. There is a shortcut. You may be able to see it on the mini-map in the bottom right. You can kind of cut a corner. And you can only do it if you get an item that you can throw food. And I got like 3 TNTs in a row, which is really unlucky. But we get a potion here, and I should be able to show it off now. And there you go. And you can do that. That's obviously intentional. We haven't seen any unintentional shortcuts yet, but we are about to. So, yeah, lovely. It's Tiger Temple. So, okay. This next track. The first unintentional shortcut, this track is ridiculous. It's like 1:10 in length, and it has like 9 shortcuts. This is one of them. This one is definitely intentional. You just cut through the outcode there. This would actually be a good time to bring up double jumping, which is basically hitting R1 to jump into an uphill, and then spamming it to get another jump. You will see it here. And there's the shortcut. So that's the unintentional shortcut there. But there are 3 shortcuts allowed. I'll take this time, I guess, to mention that this is definitely an intended mechanic, obviously. But picking up Wumpa is important. Every 1 Wumpa you get, your car speeds up by, I believe it's 0.2%. So that's very useful. As you can see, I have 10 Wumpa right now, so that's perfect. And yeah, hopefully we don't get hit by the AI. That would suck. But we should be good. On the minimap, Cortex might actually get in the way here. Okay, he tried. But we're good. Nice, very nice. That's actually an excellent Wizard Bluff right there. Really, really good. Okay, and the final track, and this is the track I'd recommend practicing in and like learning how to get a feel for the game. Cocoa Park. As you can see, it's very wide open, it's very straightforward, very basic track. And yeah, very similarly to Crash Cove, we're just going to be drifting a lot, trying to keep our reserves high. You do have this shortcut, which is realistically the only thing that can go super wrong. But if you're just starting out learning the game, you don't even need to go for it. You can just, stay on the road, be a good driver, abide by traffic laws and such. But yeah, so we're going to try for it again here. Hopefully get a good double jump. Yeah, but that's pretty good. That's pretty good, honestly. That's not bad. I should be going for like a 1:16 here, optimally, on the in-game timer on the top left. We'll see what we get, but it should be around there. There is an example of a really good speed race. I'll try and point that out again. Hopefully I get it on lap 3 as well. But basically, if you missed it, I landed on the downhill and then was able to hold L1 and spam R1 and maintain the downhill speed for longer than I should have. A bit like there as well, but this is a really good one to show off. Not quite, but kind of. I kind of got it. That's not bad. And that is already the first cup done. As I said, very basic. Besides Blizzard Bluff, probably, like, a lot of those tracks are not too bad at all. So yeah, that's the first cup done. And on to the second one. So Again, you can go in whatever order you wish. I'm going to go to Crystal Cup here because it's probably the second most basic cup. Even though this is where stuff starts really getting difficult here. This is usually the second track that you would play in the main category of this game, which is any percent no major glitches. And it perfectly demonstrates the power of speed ghosting, or SG. This downhill especially. You can see here just the power of it. I just literally spam hop for like 10 seconds. Like, optimally, I would keep it all the way until here. Hopefully I can get that on one of these laps coming up. But you keep it for a long, long, long time here as well. Lovely, that's lovely. So this is also one of the rare instances where getting Wumper is actually slow. As you can see, I have 0 Wumper. Here we go, this is better. But as you can see, I have 0 Wumper. And it's because the crates are so far out of my way that I'm better off just like spamming hop and just not going wide at all. Just the power of how fast I'm going is just too much. This is a very unintended tech, by the way, like incredibly unintended. But it breaks open tracks with downhills and straights a lot. So as you can see, I lost speed there because I spent all my time hopping and not enough time boosting. But in that track, it really doesn't matter. But yeah, that's Ruse Tubes done. So yeah, again, this is where stuff starts picking up a lot. Dingo Canyon is the type of level that doesn't seem hard, but you can randomly just lose 5 seconds and wonder where it went. Because yeah, it's a sleeper track. It's very challenging, even though it doesn't seem it on the surface. Okay, let me explain what happened there. That was incredibly fast, but that was an example of a speed ghost up a hill. Basically, I landed on a funny pixel in the lake section, and Dingo decided to turn his cart into a plane and take off. And yeah, that can happen sometimes, and that is obviously what we want. But the reason I explained it as only on downhills is because that's a lot easier to understand. But there was an example of actually an uphill pixel acting like a downhill pixel and just sending us to the moon, which is awesome because, you know, we save time for free. Didn't even mention this sand shortcut. This only saves half a second. You don't really need to go for it if you're like new to the game, but it's certainly not bad to go for. If you can do it, then, you know, voila, half a second time save. Lovely. And these armadillos that I just bypassed, they really aren't too much of a problem after some practice. You just kind of know where they are and it's fine. There they are. And yeah. So that's it for Dingo Canyon. Now, this next track is the hardest track in the early game, I would say. Probably besides Blizzard Bluff, if you're doing this cup order. Which, by the way, just for the record, I would not at all recommend this cup order. You want to start with the harder tracks first, but just for the sake of this run, I'm just going to do easiest to hardest. This track is Dragon Mines. I will talk about that tech that I just did there. Whilst also explaining why we're playing as Dingo, because Dingo has the highest speed stat, but his turning isn't very good. So you have to be quite precise with your cornering. And the reason why I was able to turn so sharp there is a tech called U-turning, where I hit down a direction and square, and I'm able to turn really sharply at the cost of losing my speed, because by hitting brake, aka the square button, I'm sacrificing my reserves, my boosting that I've gotten up. But by spamming hop, I'm able to kind of keep that speed for a little bit. So you combine the two, and you get something like this, where I'm still able to go pretty fast, whilst also not having reserves, which is just the power of two unintended techs meshing. Sorry. Yeah, that wasn't bad. That was actually very good. Oh, fun fact, I should mention this. That track that I just played, do not jump over the start line. The game can sometimes not count your lap, and you will just lose on the spot. And yeah, DLC lap 4, my favorite. but okay. This is Sewer Speedway. Again, we're ramping up the difficulty now. Intended shortcut here that is still sometimes hard. Like, I've messed that up plenty of times. Like, my goodness. And again, the power of SG is on display. This level, also I should mention this, has some barrel cycles. You may have seen them there. That was very bad, but hopefully lap 2 and 3 will be better. Yeah, this level has some barrel cycles that I need to pay attention to. They are consistent, so you can learn them. Yeah, very little of this game, I should mention, very little of this game is RNG. Like, there are consistent things, like, everywhere, pretty much. So, it's a very good speed game, for the record. Yeah, about barrel there as well. See, I'm kind of worried now, because, at least for my standards, those 2 laps weren't the greatest. So I may be put into a position where the barrel is in my way on lap 3. You either want to be faster than this, ideally, or like slower than this so you don't get crushed by the barrel. If this barrel is all the way on the left, then I might be in trouble. Okay, I'm going to take the executive decision to go wide here as to let the barrel through. And yes, okay, that was definitely the correct decision because I would have died and that would have been very bad. But yeah, the barrels are 100% consistent and that's an example of it. So yeah, okay, so far this run hasn't been too bad actually. After 2 cups, 2 left, this has not been bad. Albeit they're the 2 easiest cups, but we'll just ignore that, it's fine. I'm sure nothing will go wrong. Okay, so the next cup, the Nitro Cup. This is what I would recommend doing first. Either that or the cup after this one. It kind of depends on if you do a certain shortcut. I'm sure some of the people in chat might know. Some people may not, but it's the main reset point, and it's a problem. But you'll see. You'll see why. But first we have Mystery Caves. Again, the power of speed ghosts on display. Well and truly, oh my goodness, that is fast. Wow. That's insane. Okay. Yeah, that's nuts. Okay. So, yeah, basically this track, besides this off-road shortcut at the start, is a very comparable track to Ruse Tubes, the track that we saw earlier in the run, the first track of the second cup, where you get a big downhill and just carry it. And this is the downhill that I'm talking about. You get on this downhill and you just hold L1, mash R1, close your eyes and pray, and go fast. That's the idea anyway. And in an ideal world, you carry it all the way until here, which is insane and rarely happens because I'm not a tool-assisted speedrun. I'm a tool, but not a tool-assisted speedrun. So I can't quite carry it that far. But yeah, so that's kind of this track. But very, like, not too hard, but with the power of speed ghosting, it can become very fast. And it's a place where you can lose a lot of time. Because if you don't get good speed ghosts, and if you get bad speed ghosts, like you get barely any speed from it, then that's a lot of time, like, that you could have had gone sailing by. So yeah, a pretty weird track where you can find yourself losing 3-4 seconds and wonder how and why. But yeah, that's actually very good. 152 on the in-game timer there is very, very good. That's very nice. Okay, so this track, there is a shortcut in this track, but I'm not going to go for. You may have seen it in the introduction video. The reason why I'm not going to go for it is because until a few months ago, well, back in 2018, it was found to be not TAS only, but before then, it was TAS only, and it's only been implemented in runs recently, and the only person that's doing it is me. Everyone else is doing this. This is safe. It's very hard. Do not beat yourself up if you can't do it. It's very, very hard, and it's where most runs die. So, if I fail it, I'll show you a backup, but hopefully I don't fail it. Basically, what we're going to do is we're going to drift off this platform. This is an intended shortcut, but this... Okay, I failed it, so this is actually a good time to show you a backup. Literally just do this. And then U-turn, and that's it. It is not a hard backup, just do that, and all is well. But yeah, that loses about 4.5 seconds, and there you can see why it is the main reset point, because of that. It can go very wrong very fast. But yeah, hopefully we can get it here. Here we go. And then we jump on the wall, and voila, lovely. Okay, good lap 3. We made up for it. Okay, this is in my opinion the hardest track in the game that doesn't have an unintended shortcut. Cortex Castle basically punishes you for every small mistake. Like if you like mess up even slightly, you're losing like 3 seconds just right off the bat. This is another reason why, if you're starting out with the game, I would recommend playing as Coco or Engine. I would not at all recommend playing as Dingo or Tiny unless you put in some serious practice, because tracks like this, you have to know exactly what you're doing, or else you're just going to hit every rule because of Dingo and Tiny's bad turning stat. So things can get real ugly real quick here. Yeah, things just snowball out of control, mainly because of all the 90-degree turns, which just punish you if you're using Dingo or Tiny and you mess up because you can't recover it all. Whereas with Coco and Engine's turning stat being a little bit better, you can kind of like mess up and still save it and be alright. But yeah, I didn't even mention, by the way, a new tech, USFing or Ultimate Sacred Fire. Basically, there are some turbo pads in this game. If you don't jump, I didn't jump, you go really fast. As you can see, I am going incredibly fast for no reason. Only 4 tracks in the game have this, and I will point them out when they appear. One of which actually isn't going to appear in this category, but the other 2 I will most certainly point out. But yeah, Ultimate Sacred Fire. It's a very niche tech. It's, again, only useful in 4 tracks out of the 18 tracks that are in this game. But, yeah, so it's not too bad. Again, just one more time. That's actually an excellent Cortex Castle. I cannot complain in the slightest. That is very, very, very good. And yeah, 206 in game time. That's lovely. Okay, this is the main reset point in the run. For y'all that have frequented my streams, you will know about this. In fact, I was doing it earlier today, and I did 4.5 hours of runs and didn't get past it once. Ah yes, very fun. Basically, I'm going to want to hit item boxes, and I am hoping for a TNT or a Nitro. For context, we're going to be using a TNT, well, we're going to be using a Nitro to jump over a wall near the finish line. If I get it, I save roughly 45 seconds. If I fail it, I lose 30. So basically your average lap with it is like 18 seconds, and your average lap without it is like 1:15. So it's a net swing of nearly a minute, and you go for it twice, and yeah, we'll see how it goes. Well, it's a net swing of 45, I would say, all in, but yeah. Okay, so here we go. We're going to place the Nitro here, and I'm going to concentrate, because this is precise.
Wrong way.
That is the first time anyone has hit that in a marathon. I am the happiest man alive. I'm going to go for it again, and if I get it again, I'm going to lose my mind. There is a little bit of RNG here, because you can absolutely get trolled and not get a Nitro. That can just happen. Like this. This is an all familiar sight. Oh, this is wonderful. Okay, so this is a common occurrence, and by common I mean common only for me. And okay, we got another nitro pretty quickly. It's fine. So okay, let's go for it again. Sadly not. Okay, so that would have been amazing for the record. That would have been absolutely incredible. But we'll take 1 out of 2. I'm very happy I got to show that off. Again, it's the first time that anyone's ever hit it in a marathon, so I am very happy about that. So yeah, and this is how, by the way, like, this is how you should play the level. You should just play it like this. You should not go for the skip unless you want to reset a lot, always, because you need to hit it twice in a row, and you need good luck to get the nitros in the first place. So unless you're a god gamer or an idiot, you shouldn't go for it. I am definitely an idiot, and I'm definitely not a god gamer. So luckily I tick off one of those criteria.
You could also be both. Sometimes those things go in hand.
You could be both. I can't say I've ever seen one that's both yet, but you know. Alright, not bad. I'm just very happy I got to show that off. That's very cool. Okay, so final cup, sorry. Final 4 levels are coming up. This, if you're not doing that skip that I just did, I'd recommend starting your runs on this cup. Like, absolutely. This is what we did before that skip was found about a year ago. And yeah, this is where I would recommend starting. This track used to be the main reset point until Tiny Arena came along, which is the skip you've just seen. This is Polar Pass. This level has the easier version of a shortcut and the harder version of a shortcut. I will hopefully show you both. This is the easier version. You turn around at this turbo pad, and you drive back, and you jump off the wall, and you like clear the lake. It saves about 6 seconds per lap. Not at all needed if you're just starting out. Not at all needed. You can just go around. But it's the easier version of what I'm about to do. And by the way, for the record, it's not easy. It's not easy. That's why I wouldn't recommend it if you're just starting out. But it's definitely easier than what I'm going to try. This is called Boomerang because the shape that you make is like you're coming back on yourself. So here we go. This is what we're going to try and do. Basically, we skip the turnaround at the turbo pad. This run is actually really good. That's excellent. Yeah, again, I'm very happy I got to show that off because it's very possible that I didn't get that. But yeah, basically, the reason that's harder is because you have to throw in a U-turn to even get the angle, and you're coming at it from a completely different place, but it's harder to get a jump off the wall. But you skip the turnaround at the turbo pad. Again, don't try this if you're just learning the game. Just go around and, you know, enjoy life. But let's see if we can get it again. Not quite. So that's kind of what I was expecting to happen, hitting the wall and not getting a jump, because it is hard to get a jump from that angle. And okay, we made the backup. We made the backup. That's good. That's good. I can take that. Again, managing to get Tiny Arena and Polar Pass in one run is that's very cool. Yeah, that's very cool. Okay. Next track is Engine Labs, and this is the other track in this run that has the Ultimate Sacred Fire tech, and this tech is way more obvious than the one on Cortex Castle. Way more obvious. It's also used twice per lap, so you're going to see it 6 times in this level. This level gets absolutely destroyed by the tech, and yeah, basically, this tech is very easy. I would actually recommend everyone trying this. If you have some boosts stored up, basically your reserves, referencing that term earlier, basically reserves is the amount of times you boost, your reserves will go up, and it's the amount of time that you will keep the speed that you currently have for. So, by boosting like this, I'm keeping my speed for longer. And those reserves get basically just crushed down into all of this speed. And this speed will be kept for as long as how many reserves you built up. So how many times you boosted before doing it. And we end it there. With Coco and Engine and other characters with better turn, you can actually keep it for longer than that. But for Dingo, it's optimal to U-turn there to get a tighter line, because your cornering just can't make that turn. Your cornering is too bad. So we simply have to cut it there and then Froggy out of it. Froggying is the thing where I jump a lot. And yeah, that's what this track is kind of based on in the speedrun. That's like the core of how we go fast in it. Boosting a lot in when you don't have USF, and then when you do have USF, trying to maximize your cornering and stuff like that. This has actually gone really well so far. That is excellent. And yeah, then we get another USF here. It's as easy as building up speed, like building up boosts, and then not jumping off the ramp. It's literally that simple. So I would recommend everyone do this. This is definitely a safe tech to go for. But yeah, hello Engine, how do you do? I do not know why Engine is that far behind. But okay, yeah, Engine is miles behind. My man crashed and lost like 20 seconds somewhere. Anyway, that was very weird. Okay, 2 more tracks left. This first track, out of the 2 that are left, Hot Air Skyway, this is a very, very flashy track. 9 shortcuts in total, if you do 3 per lap. And only one of them I would really recommend going for. If you're starting out, just go down this spiral. I, however, am going to turn around. The reason why, by the way, I drive all the way to there and then do this is because if I don't drive all the way up there and then do that, the game will not have loaded that part of the track yet. And then it will go, what are you doing here? Shouldn't you be in school? And then it will respawn me back up top. And, you know, we don't do a shortcut. Instead, we just lose time, and it's sad. But instead, what we're able to do is drive all the way up here, because as far as you drive, the track will keep loading itself. So if we drive up to here, the track will be loaded down here. If we don't do that, the track won't have loaded and the game will wonder what we're doing. But I don't recommend doing that shortcut. I do, however, recommend doing this. You can do this how I'm doing it, which is bouncing off the wall to get a better line. Basically, just turn around and just jump over the wall. It's that easy. It's that easy. Like, literally, just turn around, drive backwards, and use that little hill to just jump over the wall. Saves 15 seconds per lap. And it is not hard at all. Very worth doing, or very much so worth doing, sorry, before you even do your first run. Like, very, very much worth practicing. And the final shortcut I haven't gone for yet, because it's very risky and it saves like double the time on lap 3 pretty much, is this. We call this hairpin. This was only recently introduced. And basically you can skip this last corner here. Lovely. And you skip getting the turbo pad speed, but because it's lap 3, the race ends here, and it's more worth it on lap 3 than lap 1 and 2. Still worth it on lap 1 and 2, but yeah, that shortcut is pretty hard as well. And then the final track, this is a very, very basic track, kind of anticlimactic in a way. Slide Coliseum. You will actually not see this track in many other categories, especially the main category. You will straight up not see this track. But yeah, it's a very basic track, very straightforward. As the name suggests, Slide Coliseum, you're going to be sliding a lot. And that's kind of the gist of this track. Jumping over tires is the only shortcuts, really. I'll tell you what, I'll try a certain shortcut that I never go for. But if I get it, I'm going to lose my mind, because there is technically a shortcut here. If you get it, you save 1.5. If you fail it, you lose 15. I would never usually go for it. But, you know, why not? Why not? We'll go for it lap 3. I'm actually going to try and snipe this one per crate here. I'm a legend. I just want everyone to know that. And, okay. So yeah, lap 3, we'll go for the Slide Coliseum shortcut. And time will be when I cross the line on the last lap. So, yeah. Okay, so we're going to drive up to here, load the rest of the track, turn around, and try and go in between these tires. Okay, I mean, this run's just been really good. I have no joke here. This run has just been very good. Yeah, time is coming up here when I cross the line. And time. I can't believe that.
GG, that's a 32-13.
Okay, that's... If I got the second tiny arena skip, that would have been like 5 seconds behind world record. For the record. That was absolutely insane. Okay. Yeah, to say I'm happy with that is an understatement.
Yeah, that is a very good demonstration run, I think.
I mean, I can't ask for more than that. I hit every shortcut at least once. I mean, yeah, I don't know what to say. That was really nice.
Yeah, excellent work on that.
Cheers.
And I'm actually looking forward to when you do the tutorial for this tomorrow evening on the Community Spotlight.
I'm hella looking forward to that. That's going to be very, very fun. Yeah, it'll be nice to give this game the demonstration that it deserves, honestly. This game has so much tech. I could barely cover everything, so that'll be very cool tomorrow. Very, very cool. So, yeah.
Absolutely. So just a reminder to everyone, the Community Spotlight is at 7 p.m. Eastern Time tomorrow night. So if you want to take a look at this live, you absolutely should. You should come check that out. Relcoon is our host. Relcoon in chat is not only our tech for Speed Seasons, but also hosts the Community Spotlight and the tutorials that have been coming out of that every other week on behalf of Speed Seasons have been incredible resources. So very glad to have HypnoShark on board for that too.
Yeah, it's been awesome. It's just been awesome. Yeah, it's been such a cool event, and yeah, just glad to be a part of it. It's been great.
It's really great to have you. And also, with the reveal of Game 6, Alpha has also released a game suggestion form for Speed Seasons 4. You can find it at the Speed Seasons website, but I'm going to go ahead and post the link directly here. If you are interested in suggesting games, maybe something Alpha has overlooked up to this point, because we're on Game 6 out of 7, that would be the place to drop those suggestions. Or you can also check it out if you aren't sure what the previous games have been up to this point. Check out the Speed Seasons 3 link that I'm posting in chat now.
Yeah, there's a lot of work that went into going through this event, picking every game. This game was... I was looking for a racing game. This one checked everything, and about 5 seconds after mentioning it to HypnoShark, I knew basically this was perfect. Like, this one took a lot to get to, actually. And even Skyblazer, that was a last minute, that was like the last game I ended up picking, was that just because another game sort of fell through, just because nobody wanted to run that game. But yeah, there's any suggestions, weird indie titles, that maybe have a small community wanna, it works great for this event. I've never heard of it. That's a great way to get exposed to that. And I went through so many games for this thing, and it's a lot of work. So any amount from anybody out there helps.
Yeah, and absolutely. And also follow HypnoShark. Let me put that link in the thing in the chat. I can type. I can't type. There we go. And also, if you saw the Skyblazer race earlier today, right before we revealed Game 6, go follow OmniGamer too. OmniGamer is a gamer. A gamer and a half. Like, seriously though, definitely check both of them out. They're fantastic. And meanwhile, we have the God Gamer idiot over here with a fantastic time of 32:13.
I mean, I don't know what to say about that. I mean, yeah, it's just crazy. Like, yeah, I got none. I truly have nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Like,
awesome.
And that said, that's going to be it for us today. We are just about done here for Speed Seasons 3 for this week on April 30th. Not April, sorry, we're in May. On May 30th, that will be our... no, it's not the 30th. I can't count. It is the 23rd.
23rd.
Oh my goodness.
I couldn't figure out what date you were trying to say.
I don't know either. I've nearly messed up my last name. I have typoed several things today. I can't get dates straight. It's definitely hard. Hosting is hard. So May 23rd. That's the day to look out for this race. And then tomorrow, like I said, is the community spotlight at 7 p.m. I'm getting quoted in Discord right now by Railcode. Thank you for that. But I just want to remind everyone that SGDQ 2021 online, the games list dropped yesterday. If you are curious what got into the event, take a look at gamesdonequick.com to check that out. And the schedule itself drops on May 17th. So if you want to plan your GDQ watching stints, that is the day to look for that. Prize submissions are open for the event as well. So go to gamesdonequick.com again to find out about submitting prizes for the event. And then Frame Fatales, the all-woman speedrunning event, will be returning on August 15th to the 21st with Flame Fatales. Game submissions will be open from May 18th to the 25th for that. Go to gamesdonequick.com/Frame Fatales for more information on this event. So if you are a woman speedrunner or you know someone who is, definitely reach out to that person. Tell them about the event. Tell them to submit to it. It's going to be great. And also tune in, like I said, tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern for the Community Spotlight, where HypnoShark will be going further in depth on Crash Team Racing as an extension of today's show. So if you ever wanted to learn more about speedrunning the game, maybe you want to run it yourself to compete in the race on May, I can do this again. I have my notes written. It's the 30th, the 23rd, on May 23rd.
There you go.
Either way, it's sure to be a great time. So make sure you check that out. And thanks again, Alpha, for putting this all together.
I was going to say, and if you don't want to forget any of these dates, they're all on speedseasons.com. That has all of the information for all of these dates. And also, all of the dates for the Games Done Quick events are on gamesdonequick.com, like I said. So check all those out. My name is Amber Cyprin. I've been your host for today. I will catch you all in 2 weeks. And thanks again for watching. So have a great rest of your day.